Now your disaster recovery plans, what we call the DRPs, work with the BCPs to recover a facility that was rendered inoperable. And that's what disaster recovery is. Disaster recovery could be something as minor as a server actually crashing. You know, if a server crashes, hardware fails, most of the DRPs for that are pretty self-evident. We take the backups that we make at a regular interval, we get a new server that's working, we restore the information. Easy. And in fact, in today's world of virtual machines, man, I'm telling you what, main server goes down, move the virtual image over to another server that's hosting virtual machines, server's right back up. I mean, it's just incredible the way a lot of disaster recovery plans have changed because of virtualization and how we're having a phenomenal amount of success with uptime. Anyway, the disaster recovery plan could be even worse, though. It could be the destruction of a building. So now the facility is rendered inoperable. That means uninhabitable. The people can't go in. So what is the disaster recovery? Do you have another site already set up? Do you have the equipment that's already there? Depending on the complexity of the facility, there may be a number of disaster recovery plans that you have that you're saying, okay, look, I've got some for servers, I've got one for getting the software over there, I've got one for getting people into that location. All of these different things might come together, right? Because we're planning, not for just servers or just network infrastructure or just key personnel or records, right? We're planning for all of them. And we integrate them together as a single plan of what we're going to do during this disaster. Now the IS Business Continuity Planning, the BCP, has the same approach as a corporate plan in that in this case the goal is the continuation of IS processing. Now your BCP plan should, and I realize that the last word of the acronym P stands for planning. Some of you might say, oh, he's being redundant. All right, it's just easier to say. The BCP plan should be aligned with the strategy of the organization. You should have a priority list, again, of the various application systems, of what's most important, what's crucial, what you can't live without, and have your plans for making that system continue to run. Now, you remember, you need to consider the premises as well as a part of the critical business processes, because all the best plans you have about keeping IS processing won't do you any good if you don't have a place to implement that. So keep the premises in that list as well. Disasters are where we have long disruption periods which could severely impact the organizational operations. It could be natural calamities. We've recently seen some in the country of Japan. Power grid, as I've talked about, going out. And as I said, I've been victimized by two major power grid interruptions. Where I live in the Northwest, they had a power grid thing that went down and took down Washington, Oregon, Idaho, California, Nevada, and Utah. It was July, and it was 110 where I lived. No air conditioning. Then the one that hit Toronto and took out Michigan and many of the states around that area of Ontario, Canada, was where a lot of some of my email hosting was at. I understand power grids can go out and they can be severe. Again, we've got to think about these. These are disasters, things that we look at disruptions. So what do you do about the natural calamities? Not a lot. We can't stop them. But our plans for them are things like I talked about with the multiple data centers across the countries. Another facility can take over. Same with the power grid. Other solutions to power grid problems are, of course, having generated power. I know I had this guy that I worked with, and he was a bit fanatical about keeping his racks of routing equipment that he stores in his garage up online, because when he did training, he accessed those. And he actually has a natural gas powered generator and got a 5,000-gallon tank. I mean, that's, I think, what he told me. He had to dig a huge hole in his backyard so he could bury the thing down because it was huge. And literally, if his neighborhood goes dark, he's going to be up for months with this power backup. But we see him in hospitals and we see him in IT. We talk about UPS and other types of things for the temporary power gaps. All of the things that we want to plan for. Telecommunications can certainly go down. We see those all the times with the stories of the big sunspot activities and disrupting communications, or people with backhoes taking out the the cabling underground and destroying your capability of getting out. Energy supplies of other types, terrorist attacks, hackers attacking you. If a hacker takes over a system or crashes a server, you're right. Again, business has stopped. We have to be able to see what we can do to keep business running. And of course, human error can be there as well. Now, based on the risk assessment and your worst case scenarios, and you're going to look at short-term and long-term strategies that you're going to have in the business continuity. So what are we looking at? We do the risk assessment and we look at the worst case scenario and what do we need for the short term and the long term to be able to recover from that. One example, a part of the long-term plan may be that you need to have a new permanent facility. Remember, a severe disruption, if you don't have a plan to keep business running, that can damage the image of your company, its reputation, or the brand of that organization. And another part of your plan, and I'm not kidding you with this one, is that you might consider having your public relations as a part of the business continuity plan so that when those things happen, you have somebody out there, a spokesperson saying, look, we know this is bad, we're fixing it, you can trust in us, and and those types of things. And again, it's just something we have to think about when we're talking about disasters, and nobody wants to. They think sometimes it's bad luck to do, but it is part of what we have to contend with to keep our business running. I read a statement somewhere, and I wish I could remember the source so you would have more belief in what I'm about to say. But I read a statement that said that many of our smaller companies and corporations, fewer than 500 people, maybe even fewer than 100, see, that's where I'm fuzzy on it. But it said if they had a severe disruption in business that lasted 7 days or more, for the most part, those small companies could not recover from that loss and eventually would go out of business soon or right at that point. And that's not a good thing. But then again, not every company can come up with a full-scale solution, BCP, like some of the ones I've talked about as well. But you want to do what you can in planning to keep your organization or your business alive by having these types of business continuity plans in writing somewhere, hopefully practiced and ready to go.